Rockwood 1, Sault Ste. Marie's Rock Station. Good morning, Sault Ste. Marie. Mark St. Angelo with you here. It's a sunny morning, nippy 28 degrees here on the Canadian border. So have you all made your New Year's plans yet?
Somebody's in here.
Hello, I'm coming.
Hey!
Coming.
Hey!
Hey.
Hey!
Hey.
How are you?
Good afternoon, sir.
Hey! Is the place open?
Oh, I'm sorry, but we're going to be closed. We don't open until May.
Oh,
Right now, I'm pretty
no, I
much
came
closing
down-
up here.
Listen, I just came here from Florida. I'm a boat captain down there, and I heard about the Edmund Fitzgerald exhibit. I just kind of wanted to, come in and see the place.
Hey, welcome aboard. No problem at all, because I'm going to be working here. You may be able to help me also.
Well, I don't mind at all.
Okay, come on board,
All right.
Captain.
Let me,
No, thank you. Hey, this will be complimentary.
Oh, I can't thank you enough. Let's go check it out.
Okay, Captain, come on. Looks like you're still around.
I am. I'm checking out the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Well, I think you've got interest definitely right here because we have a beautiful display here. And as you can remember, do you want some details on them?
Well, sure. All I know is the song. You've heard of the song, right?
Yes, I have, because it's The Legend Lives On from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Kitchigumi. Way to go, Captain. You are a captain.
Arr.
This particular display here is that of the Edmund Fitzgerald. We'll call her the Fitz between you and I because we are very knowledgeable about the Fitz. She was sailing for her last trip of the season on November 10th, 1975. She was on Lake Superior with the Arthur M. Anderson. A storm definitely had been brewing, and when she came within 12 miles of Whitefish Point, she was hit by two consecutive large waves, the Two Sisters. And this pretty well took her down 530 feet to the bottom.
Wow. You got a pretty nice museum here. I just can't thank you enough for letting me in after you guys have closed down for the season.
Well, thank you very much, sir, because I would say as a captain and a maritime folklore enthusiast, it is definitely a pleasure to have made your acquaintance.
What's through this door?
The bulkhead leading to cargo hold number 1. Let's go through it. Help me push the door. Yes, Captain, welcome to cargo hold number 1. And in here we have a beautiful display. In the center with a life raft, and here a model of the wreck of the Carl D. Bradley.
What happened to these guys?
Captain, let me introduce the crew who will be able to tell you about the wreck, and it is the man long forgotten.
Who are these guys?
Well, these are all of the sailors that worked on the Carl D. Bradley.
Are they ghosts?
No, but they'll be able to tell you the story of what happened. Let's listen to the captain of the Bradley.
I'll start. It was Monday, November 17th, 1958. We just finished unloading down in Buffington, just outside of Chicago. It was our last load of the season. We were done. We had a short sail up the coast of Wisconsin to Manitowoc. Bradley was scheduled for new cargo hold. We had to rush out of there. There was a storm a-brewing. Our boats had the best reputation on the lakes. We just received an award for safety record, 2 million hours without an incident.
Around 9 p.m., I hollered down to Chick and Leo, make sure they locked down the boom, and they said it was good to go. I told the captain we were ready to shove off, and then Mikey Gager comes running up to the pilot house, tells me that Pilarski's missing. Said he had stopped at one of his local girlfriend's place and had to help her with her car.
I had to tighten her belt.
Yeah, right after he loosened it.
He's lucky I didn't leave him. Bartell saved you. He convinced me not to leave you.
I'd heard the weather reports coming in, and there was a system moving across the whole U.S. He definitely wanted to get the hell out of there. I called down to Dizzy and consulted with him about adding water to the ballast.
Top off those ballasts. Yeah, we added water to the aft ballast to keep us heavy in the water in case we ran into some choppy weather. The last thing you want is for the prop to come out of the water. It can slap back down, stall the engines. Happened to us once back in ¡34. We almost lost the entire boat and the crew. Everybody's getting thrown around. Everybody's thrown up.
Is that why they call him Dizzy?
We ended up stepping off around 9:30 p.m. The winds were pretty heavy, 35, 45 miles per hour, but we really had nothing to worry about. We were riding up along in the lee of the Wisconsin, so we had the shoreline protection.
We had a heading of 352 degrees. There's nothing to worry about. The entire crew could have done the trip blindfolded.
I relieved Fogey at about 4 a.m. Bradley, she was running fine against the waves. And then when Carl came on and relieved me at 8, I told him, let's hold the course, and I would call Manitowoc and let him know we would arrive on the 18th at 2:30 p.m.
Storm was building, but we couldn't feel it. By the end of my watch, we'd be pulling into port safe and sound. But about 9 a.m., we got a call on the radio phone. It was the company. They wanted to talk to Captain Bryan.
The company wanted us to do one last load. I told them about the storm. They knew. I figured if we crept up the Wisconsin coast further, then hauled back to the east, we'd be fine. I agreed.
And I woke up from my watch and the captain told me to chart a new course from Canna Island to Lansing Shoal.
Fogey came up to the pilot house, gave us our new heading. That's when I called over to Tuketsky to change our course.
After Canna Island, the new heading, 47 degrees.
47 degrees. Hard to the starboard.
I don't know what it was, but something didn't feel right about it all.
When I woke up at around 2:30 p.m. on the 18th, I knew something had changed. There was water all around us. There was no land in sight. I went back down to the galley and everyone was talking about it. They weren't happy.
We came back on at 4 p.m. for our watch. And the Bradley, she was still running good, hogging a little bit. Captain ordered for us to put the sideboards up for dinner, just in case.
We didn't even need to do that. Nobody even knew that we were in 25-foot seas. So I left the sideboards down.
But I called down to the engine room, and I told them to check down the engine 10 RPM.
Heller, engine room.
Captain wants you to check the engine down 10 RPMs.
Got it.
What's that? Captain wants you to turn it down 10 RPM!
I left the pilot house, walked down the spar deck and back into the galley, then into the engine room and talked to the fuel guys. I walked down to the tunnel and pressed the button that sumps out the bilge. There was just a little bit of water there. When I was walking back through the tunnel, I could see the ship twisting and turning. Rivets were popping out of the wall. You could hear them hit when they fell.
I was in the dunnage room when Frank came in, just having a smoke. We were talking about Thanksgiving.
You hear what time we're supposed to get back to Rogers?
They didn't really say. I'm guessing sometime in the morning, though.
I'm not too excited about this trip. How about you?
Yeah, not so much, but I tell you what, extra money for the holidays.
Extra money for the holidays.
We both knew it was something bad. It was like a sonic boom coming through that tunnel. We both looked at each other, and then we ran towards the ladder to get to the deck.
Yeah, I heard it. It was a sound you'll never forget. It was the keel snapping. It didn't take long to see where, right about that 10th hatch.
We all heard it. We all knew something was wrong. Some of the guys thought we hit a shoal.
I was sleeping when I heard the sound. All the guys were running around and screaming. I was still in my pajamas. They told me to get a life jacket. The boat was sinking.
Out the back of the pilot house, you could see the deck snapping. It was at that point I knew we were gonna sink.
I was in the engine room. I heard the thud. And the second one. We all ran topside and knew we had to get to the boats to lower them.
I yelled at Frank, we gotta get to our jackets.
Gary and I ran topside. We looked to the stern of the ship, and you couldn't see the aft end. Then it appeared. The deck was like a hinge.
It was obvious I'd lost my ship. The keel had snapped. I knew the boat was in rough shape, but I never thought it'd go that quickly.
Dad, lost the wheel!
Had to blow the abandoned ship whistle. 7 shorts and 1 long. I never thought the day would come.
The captain was yelling at us to make sure we all had our jackets.
Martel, get those life jackets!
He ordered me to ensure that everybody had one. Now, we weren't going to make it to the stern. At least I didn't think so. We would have to leap across the breach. I'll never forget the way that thing was breaking. Steel smashing, sparks.
We were all gathered by the pilot house along the railing. Fogey came to me and asked what I wanted him to do. I asked if he could make it to the stern of the ship to help with the lifeboats.
Captain asked me if I could make it to the stern. I knew that I could. Wires were snapping, steel breaking.
Yeah, I saw Johnny coming down the pilot house and start running down the spar deck. I knew what he was gonna do.
Elmer yelled for someone to unstrap the raft on the platform behind the pilot house. I remember yelling at Alvy. I told him to come with me to the life raft.
Alvy, come with me to the raft! No, Captain!
But he refused and went with the captain to the bow.
I should have gone with you, Frank.
You couldn't have known, Alvy. I mean, I followed the captain too.
Then I saw Fogey sprinting down the deck. He was going to jump the breach.
I took off sprinting, fast, like a horse. I knew if I could make it to the stern, I'd be able to help those guys. But right when I got there, the deck heaved straight up. I jumped, but it was too far. I didn't make it.
I was up on the deck with the guys trying to free up the lifeboats, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't like we were at the docks when we were trying to do it for the Coast Guard. The boat was pitching and rolling. Then one of the cables got caught on the ship.
She's got in the sheet! Daniel, get the axe! Cut it!
It was a mess. You couldn't get either of the boats down. Then the wire got caught. But it was hopeless.
We finally did get the starboard boat in the water, but once it hit the water, it kept smashing up against the Bradley. Even if you could get into it, you wouldn't have been able to get into the boat. It was like mounting a wild bronco.
I told Heller our only chance was to jump in. If we didn't get away from the boat before it sunk, it would suck us in.
What the hell are you supposed to do? Stay on board? Hopefully somebody comes to rescue you? Jump? Swim? I think we all knew that we were all facing death.
I brought my crew on the bow to the high side of the ship, along the starboard railing. Hopefully, if the ship capsized, it would throw us far from the ship so that it didn't roll on top of us.
And we were going down fast. It was only a matter of time before we were going to be all in the water. And once the ship sunk, we would try to make it to the rafts. Hell, if you could make it.
We were doomed on the bow. I knew we were going in the water. I knew there was little chance we would make it to the raft.
I can still hear Elmer. He was standing outside the pilot house door, yelling the Mayday call.
Mayday call! Mayday, Mayday, Mayday! This is the Carl D. Bradley. We're 12 miles southwest of Gull Island. Our ship is breaking up.
When the cables finally got cut and the radio died, I knew I only had a few moments. Hell, I didn't even have a life jacket. I didn't know if it would do any good or not. But the last second, I ran to the ladder to my room. It was dark, there were no lights. The spar deck was already awash with water. In fact, topside. When I got up there, I saw the captain and the other guys climbing the high side. The bow side was listing at 35 degrees already.
I just got done pulling the last strap off the life raft when a wave smashed into the side of the boat. It knocked me and the raft into the water.
All in the water. Never saw it coming.
Either did I. I went into the water head first. That water, I'm estimating it had to have been 40 degrees. It shocked my body pretty good.
My face plunged deep into the water, but my life jacket popped me right back up. I took one stroke, and my arm hit the raft. I quickly climbed up onto it and yelled for the rest of the crew.
Could hear Frank yelling, and I just kept swimming. Frank pulled me up onto the raft. wasn't farther away, my hands and muscles were already cramping up. We started yelling for everybody. It was really hard to see the waves and the water sloshing around. All we could do was yell for the people.
I kept yelling for everyone. Then I saw Mel Orr. He was there 1 minute, then gone.
There's nothing you guys could do. I mean, these damn things need a crotch strap on them. The wind, the waves, my body, I could feel it starting to shut down. If we didn't get rescued quick, I knew we were all gonna die.
We didn't fare much better. When I hit the water, my life jacket came off. I couldn't get it back on. The cold water, the waves, I just held on to it. The waves kept going down my throat and into my lungs. I never even saw the raft.
None of us did. My jacket wouldn't stay on me either. Like Mel was saying, those damn jackets needed a crotch strap.
Same thing happened to me. Couldn't swim, couldn't do anything.
When I saw the bow capsize, I knew it wouldn't be long until the ship sunk. I yelled at Mikey and Floyd to jump in, to swim to the raft we had launched. I knew it was the only way we would survive.
We all jumped together, landed real close to the boat too. You could swim, but it wouldn't get you anywhere. You couldn't see anything. I couldn't see the lifeboat. I remember looking up and seeing the Bradley still lit.
Once I hit the cold water, I could barely breathe. The water and the spray made it even harder. I could see that Mikey and Floyd were already struggling. The lifeboat was capsized already. Even if it was floating, you couldn't swim to it. It was a death sentence.
When I went in the water, it was so cold. It literally took my breath away. All I could think about was my family, my wife. It was Cecilia's birthday. The wind was relentless. The waves seemed to stand on top of each other. I couldn't take a breath without getting a mouthful of spray and water. And it was so cold. And I was so tired. My arms and legs quit working, and then nothing. That's all I remember.
I could see someone swimming towards the raft. When he got closer, I could tell that was Strzelecki, and he was full of energy, pulled himself right up on the raft. Kept yelling for his brother-in-law, Ray Kowalski. I wanted to leave the raft and go swim to him.
Get here! He's out there! I can hear him! I'll find him!
We had to grab onto him, and I ordered him to stay on the raft, that it was much safer.
I knew Ray had to be close. I mean, there was voices everywhere, but I couldn't see anyone. I just hoped to God that Ray was out there somewhere. I saw a body floating in the distance, but, that's just it. It was floating. It wasn't quite swimming there. Still, I hoped that Ray was out there somewhere. And the raft started floating towards him.
I don't know where the hell the raft was at. I heard the scream and the choke in the coffin. Then I heard someone yell, "The raft's over there." You couldn't see anything. It was like swimming in a hurricane.
My immediate calculations brought me to the conclusion that our raft was moving faster than the guys in the water. I could hear them screaming. They'd be here 1 minute and then gone the next, and that was bad news.
Frank Elmer and I, we saw Bud and we pulled him onto the raft.
Come on, Bud! Come on!
He was frozen. I think he was in shock.
When I saw the ship on the radar before we went down, I could tell it was out there on the horizon. We found 3 flares in the box, and I took those and I put them inside of my coat to protect them from the water. I knew if that we couldn't light those, that we wouldn't have any chance of being found.
Me and Jimmy were best friends on the ship. We were playing cards in the dining room when all of a sudden we started to hear this thudding, and then all the old folks started running and screaming. We thought maybe they were playing a prank. They like to do that to us, and it was our last time on the ship.
Hey, go! Guys, come on! We gotta go right now! Life jacket!
I mean, something serious had happened. We ran up to the deck and everyone was running and yelling. And then we saw the boat snap in half.
I realized it was really serious then, but I wasn't worried because I figured the shore had to be close and we had just hit the bottom. When the front end started to sink, we both knew that everyone here was in trouble. I kept looking around for some other ship to help or even the shore, but there was nobody around. I was really scared then.
I jumped in the water and I immediately lost my life jacket. I started to tread water, but I've never been that cold before.
I decided to jump off the boat, and I saw Jimmy land behind me. I just kind of waited there and tried to grab a hold of him. His life jacket kept on falling off. Then Mr. Belmore, I saw him jump as well. He didn't even make it to the water before his life jacket came off. I looked around again and I didn't see him anymore.
I had my jacket on, but I hadn't tied it correctly yet. The way the stern was moving caught me off guard, threw me right overboard without warning. When I hit the water and my jacket came off, I searched around for it, but I couldn't find it.
The waves kept crashing on us again and again. Benny and I got separated, and I could see him getting farther and farther away. Then I started choking on water, breathing it in. All I could think about was my mom, my sister. We'd never get to play Monopoly again.
I knew what my chances were. I'd heard enough stories in my time. All those shipwrecks, the freezing cold water. Nobody survives. We'd all been handed a death sentence. What's a jacket gonna do for me? Delay my death? I was going down with the ship. Now at least I would be buried someplace I love.
I jumped in the water. When I hit the water, life jacket came up. Must have snapped my neck. I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't move.
Me and Al were in the galley having dinner, cleaning up after dinner. And about that time is when we heard the boat snap. I knew right away that the damn thing had snapped. Rust bucket. I was going to retire after that trip, and this was my last one.
Let's go! Let's go! You leave it there! We gotta go!
Pots and pans were all over the floor. And I said, Al, go get your damn life jacket. This isn't good.
I hear the men screaming out on the deck, and that's when I realized just how serious this was.
I saw a lot of the men after the boat had broke, or the bow turned over. I saw them go into the water as well. I knew they were in the water because I could see their life jackets.
I knew John and I would have to jump into the water. I jumped, but he refused. Where the hell were you, John?
I went back to the galley.
Why the hell would you do that?
Well, I went and gotten some baked beans, started eating those. I figured they'd be giving me gas so I could float longer.
Before I jumped ship, I looked around the horizon, and I recall seeing the lights of another vessel some miles across the waters. I hoped to God that they had seen us. They had to. If they had, they could come for us.
The raft was moving fast away from what was left of the freighter. I'll never forget looking up and seeing half the ship floating, as if nothing had happened.
Like Frank said, the ship just kept floating on the water. The holds must have been filling, and it kept it floating just as if we were loaded. And then all of a sudden, the wheel came up out of the water. Cold water must have rushed in and hit the boilers because 40-foot flames shot out of that stack. There was no way any boat around didn't see that.
I'll never forget that flame. It just lit up the sky like a painting. That explosion was the last sound that Carl D. Bradley ever made before it disappeared forever.
When we all loaded on the raft, besides looking for our crew, I was scanning that horizon for the ship I saw on the radar. She was moving south by south off our port bow. Couldn't have been making more than a couple of knots right into the storm. Then all of a sudden, one of the three sisters came and flipped our raft. We all went in the water. At one point, I actually was starting to think the water was warmer than being on the raft, but I knew that was a mirage.
Yeah, so I climbed back on the raft and I helped the rest of these guys, but Meredith's just so weak, just so tired, and with those waves just knocking us every which way, and then, it wasn't easy, but we got him back on board.
I can't remember anything much. I remember jumping in the water. I couldn't see, I couldn't breathe. They pulled me up on the raft, and I remember Elmer. He lay on top of me and kept telling me that help was coming. The ship was coming.
After we got back on the raft, I located the ship that I seen earlier, and I got the flare out of my jacket and I struck that and I started waving it around. The only way I could support myself, I had to get on my knees and bury myself in the corner of the raft. And I just kept waving that flare, hoping that somebody would see us. It was so dark out there. There was no other light. They had to have seen it.
Yeah, after Elmer lit that flare, we went up a big old wave, and we all tumbled over the edge, all four of us. We scrambled back on the boat, but Bud, he was having a rough time. I thought if we were going to be out here much longer, Bud, he wasn't going to make it. We couldn't do this much longer.
After we flipped the second time, I started getting really scared. I thought if we flipped again, I wouldn't be able to get back on the raft. And I knew there was no way Bud could get back on the raft. The storm was still raging, maybe even worse.
After we flipped that second time, just even after a short bit of time in that water, I grew very concerned that we were all destined to die in that water. But then as I rode up on a large wave, and I got on the top, I could see that ship again. So I lit another flare. And I was hoping that it could take the first flare I lit and then the second one, and they would be able to mark our route, which way we were going.
I remember you guys talking about the ship. I saw the flare, but I just had no energy left. I couldn't move.
That third time we flipped, I thought it was over. I ended up beneath the raft somehow, and when I surfaced, I hit my head on the metal side. Somehow, I was able to get out from underneath it and crawl back up on the raft.
Bud couldn't get back on. Me and Gary each took an arm and held onto him, but we were wearing out. Hang in there, Meredith.
When we rode up on one of those large waves, I knew I had one flare left, and I reached in my pocket where I was keeping it in my coat, protected from the water. Pulled that out, and the ship, I saw the ship, and it was scanning the water surface with their spotlight, like right near where we were. I pulled that flare out, and I got up and I tried to light it, and it wouldn't light. I tried to light it again, and then again, a third, nothing. I even smashed it on my teeth. We could not get this last flare lit. It had gotten soaked from the third time we flipped. Eventually, we saw the green light on the starboard side of the ship. It was turning around. Now we're all alone.
Yeah, Bud was doing really bad. Yeah, we still couldn't get him on board. It's like he was stuck on something.
I think it was his life jacket that kept getting caught, because we'd pull up on him, and it was like something was catching. Between the wind and the waves, there was no telling. We ran out of energy fighting to get him back aboard.
At that point, I noticed Dennis wasn't making any noise. His head was down in the water, and he wasn't breathing. They were holding on to him. I went over, and I lifted his head and pulled his eyelids back, and they rolled in his head. Looked at Frank, and we made the tough decision. Yeah, you guys gotta let him go. You're using too much of your energy trying to keep him on the raft. He had a life jacket on, so we were hoping that that would help keep him afloat and they'd be able to find him for his family's behalf. They never did.
I mean, I knew once that ship left, we could see the flares from those rescue planes down south of us. I knew we were in trouble.
Stay with us, Gary.
I mean, we were gonna be there all night. Yeah, but Frank, he kept saying it was, what was it, Frank? How'd that go?
Feel anything. Don't give up. Hang in there. If we make it till daylight, we'll be found.
Yeah, that was it.
At one point, Frank found the sea anchor in one of the compartments on the raft.
I tied off a bowline knot and tossed the anchor off the side. The minute it caught, we started to slow. Each time a wave came up, instead of flipping, it would shake, and then we would pull through it.
At the time, I didn't know if it was a lifeline or just another way to drag out our death. And by morning light, that's exactly what happened to Gary.
You know, one minute I was on top of things, I knew what was going on, and the next after we lost Ray and we lost Bud, I guess the cold got to me, and I just kind of went crazy.
Gary! Right! Gary! Let him go! Gary, get out of it!
It was a sight I'll never forget, seeing that young man, he's foaming at the mouth.
We didn't realize it, but we couldn't move our muscles. Our arms and legs had shut down.
We did everything humanly possible to try and stop him. Neither Frank nor I, we had no strength left. We reached and tried to grab him one last time. About 30 minutes after Gary left the raft, I looked over Frank's head and I saw a boat. It had a big black hull. I'm pretty sure I knew who it was. Coast Guard cutter. I've seen enough of them.
Elmer and I were facing each other. He looked past me, and I saw his eyes. He had that same look in his eyes when a boat would pull up close to the Bradley.
I remember at the time thinking, I hope this captain knows what the hell he's doing. The seas were pretty rough, even though the storm already receded. He pulled that boat up our broadside of our raft, and he floated in there perfectly. Threw the rope up over us, saw land, but neither one of us had the strength to reach it. So they ended up throwing the cargo net over the side of the beam. And when our raft went up, they jumped down and they scooped us up like babies.
They started cutting off our pants. The corpsman aboard the cutter was Warren Toussaint, and he directed 4 guys to start massaging each one of our limbs.
We were hungry and thirsty, but Toussaint wouldn't let us have anything. And then Captain Muth came down and he asked how we were. We told him we're all right, but we want to go back out and look for Gary. He just left the raft not too long ago. It was 8:30 in the morning when they found us, and our ship went down around 5:30. That means we spent about 15 hours on that raft.
It wasn't long after that they told us another ship, a German one, had found Gary. He was still alive.
They had found him with a barely beating heart. They had a doctor from Beaver Island who volunteered to come check on him. They sent a helicopter to pick him up, but Gary had succumbed already.
At some point, our temperatures were rising too quickly, and Warren Toussaint called the doctor back in Charlevoix, and he told the captain they should bring us in. Our urine was dark. They said that our bodies were shutting down. If they hadn't found us when they did, we would have died soon.
I remember getting up to go to the bathroom. It was the first time I got to see myself. Bloated, pale, white, skin torn off. That wet, moist skin out on that raft all night. It was like a cheese grater just got to it.
When we got back to the dock, it was full of people. News stations, cars, hearses. They told us, we're going to bring you to the ambulance. Close your eyes.
They were trying to shield us from seeing our crew, but I opened my eyes.
So did I. Underneath the tarps were all the bodies. They had been collecting them all morning.
Frank and I both stayed in the hospital a week, and they've flown our wives over immediately when they released the names of us. The other people, not so lucky, they had to go to the city hall and verify their loved ones in the basement.
After the hospital, both Elmer and I went back to the company, but I refused to go on a boat. I shuffled papers. The company told us not to talk about what had happened, and Elmer went back almost as if nothing had happened.
What else was I supposed to do? Cut meat? Load the stone? But it was never the same. I couldn't sleep on a ship anymore. Not even in a small chop. Don't even get me started on an actual storm. Finally, in '65, I quit. They had me loaded on the Cedarville, bound for Gary again. In a raging storm, packed my bags, quit, gone. Never stepped on a ship again. I spent the next few years of my life regretting being alive. The locals tormented me. I had widows yelling at me. My kid asking, Dad, why are those people yelling at you? What the hell am I supposed to say? Because I lived and they didn't? It was worse than death itself.
How did a boat so long and so strong quickly snap in two? The crew used to joke that the rust was the glue. 23 mamas and 53 babies. I'd get a check for Daddy's soul. John Freeman Ferguson is engraved on a stone, on an empty grave by his father Leo, mother Florence, sister to my grandpa Lawrence, Pooch Tamlin. Bow your head for the man long forgotten, who died on a cold November night. What Solomon said wasn't meant for his soul. While the shooting star was heaven bound, it stopped and swooped him up. To the men long forgotten, you are forgotten no more.